some of you still not yet complete the 14 days vaccination. So this Friday the test conducted in by online. Okay, but I try to ask pengarah. If pengarah allow me to conduct the test in lab, so I will conduct the test in lab. So, but if it is not, when they not, so I can lah. So we proceed with the online test. Okay. Any question, guys, regarding the internal control evaluation on the first part that we have discussed last Friday? Okay, in the Google Classroom, I shared already the scheme of work. So the planning for this semester, okay, we only left a few weeks. So because we have only 12 week instruction. Okay, so hopefully we can finish the syllabus within the time specified. Okay, if not, then we have to do the extra class. Okay. So last class we have discussed on the five components of the internal control system. Okay, so the first one that is the control environment. Okay, control environment is regarding the governance and management function and the attitude awareness and actions to those charged with governance and management concerning the entity system of the internal control and its importance in the entity. Okay, so you already go through the case study regarding the weak and the strong control of environment. Yeah, and the second part we have looked at on the information system, and the communication. Where you have to look at in terms of the information system relevance to the preparation of the financial statement. So you look at how the information flow, the accounting record, the financial reporting process, the entity resources including the IT environment. Okay, so today we will look at in terms of the information system and communication in detail. Okay, and then you have also looked at on the third part in the component, that is monitoring. So you the auditor should monitor the entity process to monitor the system of internal control process to evaluate the effectiveness of the entity's system of internal control and take necessary action on a timely basis. Okay, so that is for the third component. And the fourth component is important component on the control activities. Okay, where you must look at whether the entities have set up the control activities and whether the control activities achieve their objective, and support the objective of the internal control system. So the control activities include those designed to prevent or to detect and correct the misstatement. Okay, so example, you have to look at whether the internal control system and the control activity includes the adequate separation of duties, proper authorization and approval, independent check or performance review, physical control over check and records, and the monthly reconciliation and pre-numbered documents. So that's the control activities that should include in the entities control system. And in this control activity also, okay, you must know, okay, the difference between control activities and control objective. Okay, control activities and control objective. Control objective are the objective which internal control seek to achieve. Okay, so which internal control seek to achieve. And for the control activities are the procedures, okay, that are put in place to help ensure the objective are achieved. Okay, procedures. So if you talk about the control activities, it is a procedures to achieve the objective. Okay, for the control objective, what are the objective you want to achieve? Okay, what are the objective the control seek to achieve? Okay, so after this, okay, you must be able to design your own control objective and control activities. Okay, and then some example given in the books on the segregation of duties. So you have to look at the segregation of duties regarding the authorization and initiating of the transaction. Okay, physical custody and control of asset and recording the transaction. All that one must have a segregation of duties. Okay, and that is the fifth component, control activity. So done for the five components of the internal control system. Okay, today we will look at on the control in computer environment. Okay, this is the case where the company are using the computerized, the fully computerized accounting system. So if the company are using the computerized accounting system, then okay, the auditor should perform the control using the computer. Okay, you have to look at the effectiveness of the use of the computer system in preparation of the financial statement. Okay. Today I have forgotten my pen. Okay, I'm not bring my pen, so I just sketching the notes. Okay, we will look at first on the okay, I share. Okay, we start first with the okay, the first part on the control environment. The control in computer environment. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. So this is what you have in your book because the there is the different new terms. Okay, the new terms now. Okay, in the computer environment. Okay, previously they have a application control. So now they have two types of control using the computer environment. Okay, so you have to look at what are the special issue regarding the company who are using the computer, okay, as to run or as to prepare their financial statement. So that is called that is called computer information processing system that we have learned in the five components of the internal control. So when you audit the company, okay, they have two types of the company where the first one is fully computerized system. Okay. You just put in your notes, fully computerized system, and half manual operated computerized system. Okay, so you, if the company are fully computerized environment, so the auditor should perform the control in a computer environment. So there are two types of the control. One is called information processing control, and the second one called general IT control. Okay, what is information processing control? Okay, as what you have learned in your SQL. So SQL is one of the example where the company, okay, prepare the counting system. You prepare their financial statement using the counting system. Okay, so when the company are using the computer, the accounting system to prepare their financial statement. So for the auditor, when you evaluate the internal control system of the company, you should use, or you should look at in terms of their processing system. So that control is called information processing control, where the controls relating to the processing of information in IT application. Okay, IT application here. Okay, or manual information process, okay, in the entity information system that directly address risk to the integrity of information. So what you look at is the risk to the integrity of the information. Okay, what are the integrity of the information, completeness, accuracy, and validity of the transaction. So remember, okay, in the okay, in this chapter, where you have the information system. Okay, can you see what I share now is the textbook? Can you see?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so here is under the third component. Okay, the third component on the information system. This one. Okay, information system relevant to financial reporting. So when the company are using the information system relevant to financial reporting, is a component of internal control that include the financial reporting system and consists of the procedures and record established to initiate, record, process, and report entity transaction, and to maintain accountability for the related asset, liabilities, and equity. So maintain accountability. Okay, accountability. Okay, so what you look at in terms of the computer IT environment, if the company are using the information system relevant to the financial reporting, then okay, you have to use the information. Okay, information. Okay, you have to use the information. Okay, information processing control, where you have to look at in terms of the risk, directly address risk to the integrity of information in terms of the completeness, accuracy, and validity of the transaction and other information. So that is in terms of the information processing system. Okay. Another control that you have to look at is general IT control. General IT control is the entity's IT process that support the continued proper operation of the IT environment. So you have to look at in terms of the entity IT process, where, okay, let's say, okay, you have to look at in terms of the hardware and the acquisition of the software, okay, by the company. Okay, you have to look at in terms of the safety, okay, of the use of the information system. Okay, so that is the general IT control. Okay, it's not looked at in terms of the processing of the information in the IT, but you have to look at the support. Okay, the support process. Okay, uh, in the management of the company. Okay, for them to help the information processing control run smoothly. Okay, so okay, what is example? Including the continued effective functioning of information processing control and also the integrity of the management. So it includes the completeness, accuracy and validity of the information in the entity information system. Okay. So after this, we will look at what is the example. Okay. General IT is entity supporting control. Okay, entity supporting control, okay, to the application of information processing control. So support each other. So actually you have to start look at first on the general IT control, then you have to look at to the information processing control. Okay, so actually what is the two the information processing control and general IT control are interrelated. Strong general IT control contribute to assurance which may be obtained by an editor in relation to the information processing control. So that's why I said just now you have to look at to the general IT control first. Okay, because general IT control will contribute to the assurance, okay, in relation to the information processing. Okay, so if okay, okay. On the other hand, unsatisfactory general IT may undermine the strong information processing control or exacerbate unsatisfactory information processing control. If the general IT control is not good, okay, is haywire, is not apply the integrity, then okay, it will make the information processing control also become weak. Okay. So what should you look when you perform the control evaluation? So you have to look at the operating system, whether it is operated properly. Okay, so how you can test the effect of relevant general IT control or by testing on specific parts of the program. Okay, if let's say you the company are using the SQL, so then you have to look at whether the SQL control, okay, regarding the 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 environment, okay, of the system itself is good or not. Okay, let's say, okay, when they implement, okay, how they implement and who have the authority to change the information. So that is in terms of the general IT control can affect the information system information processing control. And then okay, when you look at to the program accounting procedure may not be subject to effective information processing control. Okay, what does it mean? Okay, sometimes the program accounting procedure, okay, program accounting procedure. So what are the program accounting procedure? Okay, when the company have enter the transaction in the when the company have a source of document, then they put first, okay, all the information in the master file, and then next to the journals, next to the ledger. So that is the program accounting procedure. So may not be subject to effective information processing control. Okay, for example, in order to put themselves in a position to limit the extent of substantive procedure, the auditor may choose to perform test of control by testing the relevant general IT control either manually or by using CAD. What does it mean is when you want to look at in terms of the program accounting procedure here, okay, you might perform TOC, okay, and when you perform the TOC, okay, you have to test the relevant general IT control, okay, general IT control such as uh, the authorization, okay, of the document, okay, the line of authority, okay, regarding the use of the accounting information system. Okay, so you might use the CAAT. So you might use the test data approach, test data approach, because you are using the you are testing the TOC. Okay, TOC. Okay, and then in a computer environment, that is the possibility of systematic error. Okay, you have look at when you are using the CAAT. Okay, you using the accounting software. So accounting software will when they run a system itself. Okay, sometimes they will incur the systematic error where we call it pattern. Okay, remember in the software we have learned on pattern. Okay, pattern. So this is the cost for the specific systematic error. So why? Because the program fault or hardware malfunction in computer operation. So this is the case where sometimes, okay, when the patterns, okay, is already in the system, okay, and someone can easily manipulate the data. Okay, if the general IT control is not effective. Okay, that is the computer environment that is possibly of systematic error. Okay, because of the program fault or hardware malfunction in the computer operation. Okay, if you experience in sitting the CBE exam, okay, sitting the CBE exam, then if the hardware, okay, is not operation effectively, okay, then there might have a systematic error when you answer the question. Okay, systematic error. So dia kata system fail, system cannot running. Okay. So however, many such potential recurrent errors should be prevented or detected by general control over the development and implementation of application. Okay, so general IT control here, okay, such as the maintenance of the computer. So that is general IT control. The maintenance of the computer, okay, computer should use supporting system. So that's are all in terms of the general IT control that you have to look at whether, okay, the integrity of the program and data files are in place. Okay, the integrity of the program and data files are in place. And next, the extent to which the auditor can rely on general IT may be limited because many of these control might not be evidence or because they could have performed inconsistently. Okay, so general IT control here, okay, may be limited. Okay, limited because sometimes they don't have any proper documentation for the maintenance progress of their system. That is general IT. General IT, you have to look at from the management side. Okay, from the management type in terms of the maintenance of hardware, maintenance of the software, okay, the acquisition of the software, the person in charge. So that's all regarding the general IT control. Okay, the information processing control is inside the system. Okay, inside the system. So where you normally look at in terms of the master file. Okay, who can edit the master file? Is it everyone can edit the master file? So that is the information system. Information you look at to the you look at to the how the information is processed in using that software. Okay, for the IT, general IT control, you have to look at in terms of the surrounding support system. Okay, before the information processing control can be take place. So any question between the information processing and general IT control? Ada soalan? Okay. Ada soalan kelas? Understand or not? Do you understand? Afika, do you understand?
Yes.
Why the class is so quiet today?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So this so where we should go? Example, so the rest is still safe. Okay, what you have in the book. Okay, examples of application control. Okay, completeness, accuracy. So this is not application control. All the application control here, okay, is cancelled. So you change to the information processing control. Okay, information. Okay, you change. You use your books. Your books is example of information processing control. So what are the overall objective, okay, in the evaluation of information processing control? You want to check, okay, whether the control over completeness, accuracy and authorization of input, completeness and accuracy of processing, and maintenance of master file and standing data content therein. Okay, what actually the standing data? Okay, master file, I think you already know master file. Okay, where you learn the SQL. Okay, ada yang tak tahu master file? When is you create the master file? When you create the master file? Naim? Naim?
Yes,
Naim?
madam.
When you create the master file, when you learn the SQL, can you share with me?
Apa dia, madam?
When you create a master file, at what stage in your SQL training last 2 weeks? Lupa dah Naim. Ada tak buat master file? Janganlah lupa, baru je 2 minggu. Can you share your experience key in the master file? Anyone class? Naim. Can you hear me or not, Naim?
Yes, I can.
So have you still remember the experience using the SQL?
Yes.
So what is the example of master file that you have created?
Uh, maintain supplier, maintain stock,
Maintain supplier
maintain customer.
stock. So what is the master file? Apa master file yang you letak? Yang you create? What should you have in the master file? That is the question. What should you have in the master file?
Data company,
Okay, which data company is it?
name, address.
Whose address? Is it the company address? Company means client, your client.
The supplier, purchasing charge.
The suppliers list of the list of suppliers company, the list of account receivable or the customer, right? So those who not in the master file, okay, is considered not having the authorization. So the company are dealing with the company which are not in their master file. So that is in terms of the completeness, accuracy and authorization of input. So you have to look at in terms of the processing control. So if let's say the customer, okay, that already the customer that they are deal with, okay, is not registered under their master file, so you have to look at, okay, whether that customer is trade customer or other customer. So if it is not categorized under both, so means that the system, the information system is not effective because the system can still process, okay, for the input that has not been authorized. So that is the meaning of maintenance of the master file. So all company, all the supplier or all the debtors, okay, that need to deal with the company, okay, they must the company itself, okay, not the debtors or not the supplier, the company itself, your client, okay, must record all that information in master file. Put it under debtors or other debtors, or you put it under the company put it under creditors or other creditors. So that is the meaning of completeness, accuracy and authorization of the input. And then that is in terms of the input. Then you look at how the input just now being processed. Okay, being processed. So completeness and accuracy of processing. Is it all the document and record is complete? Okay, when they enter when they start, okay, process the input. So first they have to create a master file. Second, so what should they do? Okay, they must create a what the next step? Okay, after creating the master file, okay, maintain the general the sales ledger. Okay, maintain the general ledger. Okay, and then information should be come out in the trial balance and the report. So that is in terms of the completeness and accuracy of processing. Okay, and look at to their master file and standing data file. So what is standing data? Standing data such as the if you maintain the wages system, okay, of the company. So every if the company maintains a wages system, okay, or human resource system, okay, every staff actually in the company, they must have their own staff grade and rates of pay. Okay, so they will use that standing data every month. Okay, every month. So it is the information will not change every month. Okay, example staff grade, okay, and also rates of pay. Okay, but the master file is used to store the information of the transaction. So that is a difference between standing data and master file. So now we look at the how the information processing control system is running. Information processing control system is running. Okay. First look at to the control over input on the completeness, accuracy and authorization. Okay. Okay. Information processing. So control over completeness. So what should you check into? You check into the manual or program agreement of control total. So you have the completeness. Okay. In your have you look at the control account? Okay, in the SQL processing. Last training, in the training ada tak buat control total? Dah lupa lah you all ni. Okay, you check back to your after this you check back to your SQL, then you have to look at in terms of the control total. Okay, so in the completeness, yes.
Control total tu yang kita tengok dia punya receivable dengan payable lah kan?
Yes. In manual we call it account receivable control account and account payable control account. Okay. Boleh. Christina.
Rasa macam tak ada hari
Tak ada ke?
Kita orang cekik dia punya receivable, lepas tu payable, lepas tu teruskan je.
Oh maybe now is different. I training ada. Oh okay. Never mind. So you look at to the program agreement of control totals. Okay, control totals ni normally in the general ledger. Okay, general ledger. Okay, document count ni pre-numbered document. Okay, one for one reconciliation of process output to source document. So this one is reconciliation process. Okay, I think you have in your bank reconciliation, right? Ada kan bank reconciliation? Buat kan bank reconciliation masa SQL?
Ada.
Okay, so one for one reconciliation of process. So monthly reconciliation. Program matching of input to an expected input control file. So this is also maybe this book is prepared without look at to the parallel movement of the system now. Sebab sistem ni semakin lama semakin senang. Okay, actually. So that's why auditor can must look in terms of this control because of the easiest way of processing the information. Some of the audit trail may be missing. Okay, so it might produce systematic error, possibility of the systematic error. So that's why as an auditor, okay, you have to look at in terms of information processing control. Okay, macam mana how the matching of input to an expected input control file and procedure over resubmission of rejected input. So if the input is rejected, okay, sometimes the inputs may be rejected. So what is the procedures over resubmission? So what is the situation where the input is rejected? Okay, the inputs might be rejected when the input has been recorded at a credit over the credit limit. Okay, over the credit limit. So input, because the company is already maintain the master file. Master file already included the credit limit. Credit limit. Okay, so when the input, okay, the sales invoice, for example, they have more than credit limit, then the system reject the transaction. So what is the process of resubmission? So how they process that input? So you have to look at in terms of the completeness of the transaction. Okay, any question?
Maksudnya rejected inputs tu dia resubmit balik.
Yes, Shamina?
Dia resubmit balik
Yeah, dia resubmit. So when means that rejected input tu because of what? Okay, if the rejected input, okay, how they process it, that if the input is actually is the authorized input. So how the system process? Okay, who have the authority to overstate the control? Macam mana dia resubmit that rejected input? Okay, so you have to look at in terms of the information processing control. Okay, second, in terms of the accuracy. Okay, control over input, input in terms of the accuracy. Programs to review data field, example value, reference number, okay, date, okay, of input transaction for plausibility. Okay, any plausible data field. Data field bukan file, data field. Okay, field ni value, reference number and data. Digit verification in terms of reference number. Okay, reasonableness test in terms of the tax to total value. Okay, reasonableness test. Existence confirmation, okay, in terms of the customer name. So this is in the master file. So when you check master file, you look at in terms of the accuracy of the name. Yeah, so where is the information from you take from the sales invoice sample. Yeah, existence confirmation. Okay, ataupun sales order. Okay, sales order. Character confirmation. So no unexpected characters used in reference. Okay, necessary information. No transaction pass with gaps. So permitted range, no transaction process over a certain value. Okay, manual scrutiny of output and reconciliation to source. Reconciliation to source, so it is manual reconciliation. So you have to check it on the one-to-one source document. Okay, agreement of control totals. Okay, whether it is used by manual or program. Sequence test is for the pre-numbered invoices. Okay, pre-numbered dependence of compatibility check. Okay, compatibility check. You have to look at in terms of the compatibles, okay, of the information, okay, from one to another one. Dependence means from the master file, okay, to the stock ledger, to the general maintenance of master file, okay, to the after master file you maintain journal kan, okay, ataupun apa nama dia, journal in IT, in the SQL, you call it what? Is it journal? You maintain what? Anyone? Shamina?
General ledger.
General ledger. After master file, you create general ledger
Lama sekali kita buat journal.
Okay, buat journal. Okay, so that is dependent from one to one. Okay, an exception check resulting in exception report. If you have any exception report, so you have to look at in terms of the accuracy. Okay, so this is completeness, accuracy, and authorization. So authorization, you have to check manual verification to ensure information input was authorized, input by authorized personnel. So if it is come under sales, it is under the sales department, so it should be authorized by the sales manager. Input by authorized personnel. Control over processing, so you have input, processing, and output. So input done, and control over processing, so similar control to input must be completed when input is completed. For example, batch reconciliation. So batch reconciliation, you are not do it every transaction. Okay, you have to pull the transaction first, okay, then you do the reconciliation. So that is batch transaction. It's not online processing, okay, online reconciliation. But normally batch reconciliation, because the reconciliation is doing monthly. So that is called batch reconciliation. So you have to look at in terms of the similar control to input. Okay, untuk batch reconciliation. Screen warning can prevent people logging out before processing is complete. Screen warning, so look at to the control processing. So if the system does not finish process, so dia akan bagi warning dekat on the screen. Okay, system is not or processing is not completed yet. Or do you want so that is control over processing. Okay, control over master file and standing data. Okay, 1-for-1 confirmation. Okay, 1-for-1 confirmation. So means that if you want to confirm the customer A, okay, customer A, so what should you do? Send a confirmation letter to customer A one by one. And then cyclical or regular review of a master file. Regular review of master file and standing up by internal auditor. So you can use the information from internal auditor on the regular checking or regular review of their master files and standing data. Record count, okay, number of document process and hash total. Okay, for example, the total of all payroll numbers used when master files are used to ensure no deletion. Okay, if you, let's say if the person delete the information, okay, so dia akan keluar hash total. Okay, hash total means, okay, yang macam ni tu, okay, means that they cannot read because there's no value. It means that if the system, if the data need to be deleted, so they have a procedure. Okay, so cannot simply delete. And control over the deletion of account that have no current balance. Control over the deletion of account that have no current balance. So if the balance is nil, so what should how the computer process? Okay, how the computer process for the current balance, no current balance. So control over deletion of accounts cannot simply delete the account. They must have a control over master file and standing data. So must first change the master file and standing data, then can delete. So depends on the control that set up. That is in terms of the integrity of the okay. So can you read case study for company A?
Boleh.
Okay, read case study for about 5 minutes. Okay, class? Finish? Finish or not?
Finish.
Finish. Any question? Do you understand the case? This is in terms of the how Veronica is the sales ledger clerk. Okay, her task is starting from is updating the sales ledger. Create this the input up to the sales ledger. Okay, so you are given all the examples starting from the control over input, completeness, accuracy, authorization, control over processing, and control over master file and standing data. Okay, any question? You understand from the beginning. You must relate back the information or the experience that you have for SQL. But this is how the system relates with the information processing control. Okay, any question? Which part you don't understand?
Ada.
Yes, Shamina.
Yang prompt tu macam dia punya peringatan ni.
Which one? From
Paragraf
line number,
bahagian last.
rank, the last paragraph. Which one?
Second.
Line number?
Line number 2.
Line number 2. Okay. In order to do this, she has to answer a prompt to remind her. So prompt to means tepat. Okay, you must process it accurately. In terms of the accuracy. Okay, in order to do this, she has to answer a prompt to remind her to agree the invoices back to the sales order. Okay, this one. You have to check first. Okay, invoices back to the sales order. Okay, unless she confirms she has done this, the computer will not update the ledger. So this is what the control over the processing. Control over the processing. Okay, if the system will not be updated the ledger. Okay, if you don't check or agree the invoices back to the sales order. Okay, so it is not possible to exit the program until the ledger is updated. So that is the prompt. How the exercise the prompt, the accuracy part, okay, of the system. Okay, Shamina, is that okay?
Okay.
Okay, that is accuracy. Yang control over input, control over input on the accuracy. Okay, any more question, class? So this is the code, field code. So if Carolina fail to enter for the customer number, so this is the creation of the code. So computer will reject. That is on the field customer. Okay, so that is under control over input on the accuracy also. Okay. Any question, class? No more. Ada soalan?
Yang dia reject. Kalau tak authorized tu bukan completeness.
Okay, which one?
Control over input completeness
This,
yang
yang mana, Syabina? This, for example, in the customer account field ni. This one. Is it that one?
yang tu. Oh, sebab dia okay. Tak, saya nak tanya kalau dia reject customer, kalau tak authorized bukan completeness
Address. Cutting the trust. Completeness ni in terms of the batch yang dia buat ni. This is the first. This is Dia sekarang ni dia bukan this program this apa tu system information processing system here using the batch processing. Okay, batch it's not the online. When you get the information then you enter. No, this is a batch that accumulate all 12 orders and they process according to the batch. Okay, yang ni tak sama macam you buat SQL. SQL dia every one of the information you got the information on the sales invoice, you key in one by one. So it is a different. Okay, this is the batch processing. They accumulate. Okay, they pull together all the 12 orders. Okay, and then okay, if you look at here. Veronica found the number of documents she is dealing with and calculate the total value. Say 12 orders at a total of 20,000. So they start input by 12 orders. Okay, the input is 12 orders but in one processing, batch processing. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, madam.
Okay, welcome. So I give you 5 minutes break. Okay, 5 minutes break. After this, we look at on the general control. Okay, boleh? 5 minutes break. Okay, class. Be ready. 5 minutes is over. Ready, class?
Yes,
Can
madam.
you hear me? Ani, can you hear me, Ani?
Yes, madam.
Okay. So, shall we proceed to the example of general control? See, general control is on the control over the entities IT process that support the continuous proper operation of the IT environment. Okay, it's very noisy outside. Okay, one is more simple because the general IT control will look at in terms of the how the general procedures regarding the application of the information system. Okay, when you look at to the okay, wait. Okay, class, could you please read by your own on the development of computer application up to the control issue of continuity of operation. Okay, because it's too noisy outside. Okay, you read first, and after, if you don't understand, then you can ask me because it is quite a simple control. Okay, as compared to information in processing this now. Okay, class. 5 minutes. Read the general IT control. Okay, then class.
Dan madam.
Okay. Any question for the general IT control in terms of the development, prevention of authorized changes? Okay, the first one, development of computer application. Any question?
No.
No. Okay. Prevention of unauthorized changes. Second. Testing and documentation of program changes. Okay. Prevention of use of wrong program or file. No.
Madam,
Yes.
yang libraries of program tu macam mana?
Libraries of program. Libraries of program means they have different program running in one particular in the company lah. Libraries of program, maybe they have one program for information processing for the preparation of financial statement. So they have program for their training program. So they must have a libraries of program. So cannot be mix all. Macam tu. Macam kita dekat macam kat KPM lah, kita ada different program, okay, will be put in the libraries of program. Okay, kita kat sini ada apa tu? Intranet dengan kalau dekat office lah. So they have office management and different from the lecturers punya management. Libraries of program. If the company does not have fully computerized, if they have a big system, so they must maintain the what we call it, the center, the what room we call it, apa nama dia, data room, what room ada lupa. What we call it, the ground floor tu, bukan ground floor, first floor at lab 1. Server, server room. Okay, they must have a server room. Okay, libraries of program. So must properly updated lah. Okay, and then they must have proper job schedule. Okay, boleh Syamina ke tu yang tanya tadi? Who's asking the question just now? Amni, okay. Amni, do you clear on the libraries of program?
Yes.
Okay. So, any more question on the IT? General IT. General IT is more simple as compared to information processing. Sebab general IT is outside to support the information processing just now. Okay. Then control to ensure continuity of operation, storing extra copies, protection of equipment. So nowadays, the control to ensure in terms of storing extra copies, everyone can put, company put it in their cloud, under big data. So I think that is no problem anymore. Protection of equipment against fire, that one is important lah. Okay, and then other hazard. So other hazard means protection equipment must have a room, computerized. Maybe all the computer should be kept in the aircon condition. So that is the other hazard against fire and so on. Backup power sources, okay, like college, we always have a trip. Then what is the backup power? If there is no backup power, then is normally non-safe data will be lost. So So backup power is also important. Emergency procedures, if something happen, disaster recovery procedures, and maintenance agreement and insurance. Okay, look at to the question. Okay, look at to the question and try to understand the question and find the answer. Okay, even though the answer is there, but you must understand okay why the answer okay is given like that. Okay, read the question 3 minutes. Read the answer. You must be able to understand okay why the answer is given like that. Okay. Done class. Okay. Done. So why the answer is why password is not the good example of the IT general IT control regarding the system of fire. Okay, anyone?
Master is for the fire. You just into system to
Okay, to protect the information. Okay, to the manipulation of the information. Okay, good. So means that you know now what is the difference between general IT control with the information processing control. So that is the important okay for today objective lesson. Okay. Now we proceed to the inherent limitation. Okay. So since we know that when the company are running or try to maintain a good internal control system, okay, on the basis of reasonable assurance only, because people are not perfect, and they might have a reason okay why the company cannot set up 100% perfect in implementing the internal control system okay, in the business. Okay, to achieve the reliability of the reporting, to achieve the effectiveness and efficiency of the operation, and to achieve the compliance to the applicable law and regulation. So why that's happened? Okay, why the auditor should look that the management also can use the terms reasonable assurance okay, when they build up the internal control system of their company. Okay, what are the factors? So the factors here we look at in terms of there are some inherent limitation okay, to the internal control. Okay, including the cost benefit requirement and the possibility of control being bypassed and overridden. So when company okay, with the intention to have a good control, to have the effective internal control, they might think to the best of control. But when we are when we look in terms of the cost okay, to implement the internal control system, sometimes the cost is very high as compared to the benefit requirement. Okay, benefit requirement, the cost benefit relationship. Okay, so normally company will go to the benefit, will go to the cost benefit analysis. So if they can minimize the control, okay, but still achieve the good sales or the goods revenue, so they have to try to reduce the cost of the internal control system. Okay, so that's called inherent limitation. So management of an entity will set up internal control in accounting system to assess the following. Okay, so why the management set up the internal control? So the transactions are executed in accordance with the proper authorization. All transactions and other events are promptly recorded at the correct amount in the appropriate accounts and in the proper accounting period. Okay, and then they try also to set up a good internal control to access to assets is permitted only in accordance with proper authorization. So there is a segregation of duty. So these are normally in terms of the general IT control, and recorded assets are compared with the existing asset at reasonable intervals, and appropriate action is taken with regard to any differences. So these are what the intention of the management when they set up the internal control system. Okay. However, internal control system can only provide the directors with reasonable assurance. Okay, reasonable assurance that their objective are achieved. Okay, because of the inherent limitation. So what are the such example of the inherent limitation? Potential for human error. Okay, potential for human error. Yes. Okay, sometimes people make mistake. So maybe the decision, the judgment when they make a decision is also maybe sometimes might influenced by others. So that is also human error. So and from the human error that might come the information processing error. For example, automated control may be designed to report transaction over a specific amount for management review, but individual responsible for the conducting the review may not understand the purpose of this report and fail to review them or investigate unusual item. So this is some example of the human error. Okay, because of the different understanding. Okay, when instruction come from the high level, so the person who should implement the system might not understand what is the intention of the top level management. So when they execute the system, they might do the different way as what the intention by the high level. So that is one possibility of human error. Okay, the possibility of control being bypassed or overridden. Okay, control may be circumvented by the collusion of two or more people, or management may inappropriately override the control. Okay, so for example, management could enter into a side agreement with customer that that alters the term and condition of the sales contract, which could result in improper revenue recognition. So this is collusion of two or more people in or management. So control being bypassed or overridden by the people. Okay, there is a control, but the control does not able to prevent, detect, and correct the misstatement because of this issue. Okay, and then in terms of manipulation of the transaction, where there is no proper segregation of duties, okay, between the IT person who uses the users of the IT system. Okay, the users. Okay. The cost of control outweighing their benefit. So this is what I said just now. Control versus the benefit. Okay, and then control tending to design to cope with routine and non-routine transaction. Control tending to be designed. So for the to cope and with routine and non-routine transaction. So non-routine transaction are by their very nature unusual. Okay, as a result, it will be difficult to predict what this might be, and therefore it's less likely that a system will have been devised to deal with this effectively. So, in example of shipping company that leases cargo ship to transport goods as an example. Okay, ni lease shipping company lease cargo ship to transport goods. Okay, as an example, from cargo ship jadi transport. Okay, cargo ship to transport good as an example. Okay, so how they may be designed to tend or to cope, okay, with the routine transaction. It may have effective control over leasing transaction, but if and when the company acquire a vessels of its own, okay, the control around authorizing and recording the acquisition may be much less effective. So first, they do the leasing, they lease the leasing cargo. Now they acquire a vessel. So dia ada kelengkapan dia sendiri. So what happened? So when they have acquire their own vessel, then the process of authorizing and recording of the acquisition much less effective. So that is the example of cope with routine and non-routine transaction. So if it is a routine transaction, sometimes the procedure, okay, might be less effective. Okay, because people think that that is a routine. Okay, that because of dah biasa. The term says dah biasa, routine. So they think that the mistake will be overcome. But actually what they do is not in a proper procedures. So that is some example of inherent limitation. Okay, this question also familiar to come out in the exam. Okay, any question on the inherent limitation? Any question?
Madam,
Yes.
kenapa internal control system ni dia kalau kita nak pakai dalam management tu dia mahal?
Actually, yes. When the good internal control system, okay, it will incur high cost. Okay, if let's say, okay, if let's say previously company are using manual internal control system. Okay, contoh lah, give you a very simple example. Previously, when a student come and out to the college, okay, they have to put their card, okay, on at the gate. Okay, at the guard. Card, outing card. We call it outing card. So outing card is not effective anymore because some students, okay, may miss out their outing card, may ask people or ask their friends to send on behalf of her or him. Then college try to implement one system, okay, using the computerized system where college has to incur some more costs. Okay, so when we want to implement a good system where system able to detect, prevent and correct the error happen, then the cost is quite expensive. If we want to have complete system, okay, complete system where able to detect the students, okay, where not returning or not put the not follow the procedures. Okay, when they are going out and coming in. Okay, the system costs about 7,000. So it's not capability of the college. Okay, it's not under the capability of college to pay on that expenses on that amount. So we just go for the uh, lesser effective. It means we go to the cost benefit analysis. So as long as objective is achieved, okay, to avoid student, okay, to going out without authorization, then we just buy about 3,000 system. Okay, so that is the meaning of cost benefit relationship, cost benefit analysis. So that the cost of control outweighing their benefit. So we will look at in terms of the benefit and the cost involved. As long as it meet the objective, then we go for that category of control. Okay, Ani Adriana, is it okay?
Okay, madam.
Same goes to the company. So when they want to implement, okay, like bank is very expensive system because they have a complete control, complete computer environment. Okay, fully computer environment. Bank. So that's why maintenance of the bank internal control system is very high. Okay, because they deal with the people and so on, kan? People's money. So that's why those who audit bank, okay, they must have a very good skill in IT. Okay, because you auditor also you need to know, okay, how the system works. Okay, and you must be good in IT also. Okay, so how they allocate the resources planning. When manager audit manager, okay, want to allocate their staff resources. They will look at in terms the skill, knowledge and experience of the staff. So kalau nak audit bank, so they normally pick up the person who very expert or very skilled in IT. Okay, so those who have start from now, you all must be good in IT. Okay, be good in IT. Okay, any more question? Any more question? There's good question from Ani Adriana just now. Okay, if no question, look at to the question internal control objective here. What objective should internal control in a company aim to fulfill? Okay, so this is important as our basic understanding. Okay, one, the internal control objective. Okay, what is the internal control objective? Okay, that the company aim to fulfill. Okay, in terms of the reliability of the financial reporting. Okay, so have a read of this question. Okay, you read by your own. Okay, and you ask me if you don't understand. Okay, read now. 3 minutes I think is enough. Okay, done, Nilan? Okay, class, done?
Dah.
Okay, this is the kind of question, okay, so if let's say this kind of question come out, okay, we give you 10 marks, okay, 10 marks, example lah, okay, what objective should internal control in a company aim to fulfill? 10 marks, okay, so, okay, what is the, how you are going to organize your answer? Okay, first, okay, you don't straightforward, okay, just go to this one, okay, this item, the list, okay, even though the question is very simple, what objective should internal control in a company aim to fulfill? 10 marks. So this is a discussion question. So what should you do is, you have to state first whose responsibility, okay, is the internal control in the company. Okay, so you tell first whose responsibilities is the internal control in the company. So it is the responsibility of those charged with governance and management to implement an appropriate system of financial and non-financial control. So this is how you understand about internal control. Okay, you not only the auditor, okay, will look at in terms of financial and non-financial control. Okay, that's why when you start at the beginning chapter, okay, you have to learn on the components of the internal control. Okay, there are 5 components of internal control. So as the auditor, okay, you have to tell the people that the responsibility of internal control goes to the those charged with the governance, or you can start the responsibility of the internal control in the company goes to the board of directors, those charged with the governance and the management to implement an appropriate system of financial and non-financial control. And then you say good management is itself an internal control, but other procedure must be in place as directors and senior managers cannot supervise everything. So you said that, okay, this is also one of the reasonable assurance, okay, that the director and managers, okay, cannot supervise everything, okay, for the whole day of the run, for the whole day in the operation, okay, particularly in large company. Okay, hence overseeing in an effective internal control system is how senior management discharge their responsibilities. Okay, how they are discharge their responsibilities. Okay, and then general objective. So then the second paragraph, then you start insert or your knowledge regarding the objective. The general objective for the internal control is to ensure that the company achieve its objective regarding. Okay, this is important. When we talk about internal control, okay, you must state that what is the objective. When the question asking the objective, okay, you have to put that general objective internal control is to ensure that the company achieve its objective regarding the reliability of financial reporting. So that is the first one. Effectiveness and efficiency of operations. The second one, and compliance with applicable law and regulation. So that is the main focus, okay, of the answer, okay, of the answer. So what, how to achieve this objective? Okay, these three objectives. So first, in practical, this involves the following. So the first, accuracy and completeness of accounting report, timely preparation of financial information, adherence to internal policies, safeguard of asset, and prevention and detection of fraud and error. So in this situation, okay, the responsibility. So this one, okay, you will entitled to have 2 marks here. This one 3 marks. Okay, this one, okay, dia akan bagi okay, every this one. Okay, so because the question is not limiting to the point. Okay, so they give you this is one. Okay, one. So total take how much? So this is 2, 5. Okay, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 ticks, right? So the maximum is 10. So they give you maximum 10. So whatever, that's why I said if you answer more, okay, you will not penalize anything. Okay, they will tick all the answer. Okay, but the maximum that the answer, okay, because the marks allocate here is 10, so the maximum can only give you 10. Okay, but if you answer this 1, 2 only, so you entitled to get only 5. Okay, let's say like that lah, or 6. So 6 lah. So means that if you have lots of ideas, so normally 10 and normally in the question you have to maintain to control your time. So for 10 marks question, okay, the minutes allocated is 12 minutes. Okay, so as long as you have a 12 minute, you write anything that you have the idea regarding that question. Okay, any problem? Any question?
Madam, I do have a question.
Yes, Amelia.
When I read that the chapter, I didn't really understand about the term those charged with governance and management. Is it person or organization ataupun apa yang dia itu?
Oh, term those charged with governance. Okay, TCWG. Okay, TCWG. Okay, TCWG is the okay, it's not a director. Okay, it's not a director. Those charged with governance is all the person, okay, that have the power, okay, to implement, that have the power, okay, to overseeing the company. Okay, example is the audit committee. Okay, audit committee is those charged with governance. Okay, or they have their chief executive officer, CEO, which is not from the board of directors. So that is called those charged with governance. Management, okay, is top level management. Board of directors is the board of directors. That all person, okay, is the person who is responsible for the implementation of the good internal control system in the company. Emilia, am I answering you, Emilia?
Yes, madam.
Okay, so those charged with governance ni, they have a direct power, okay, and they are given the power by the board of directors. They are given the power. So the the direct example is audit committee. Audit committee, siapa yang dalam audit committee tu adalah those charged with government who have to look to oversees the operation of the company. Boleh, Emilia?
Boleh madam.
Okay. So, I want you to get how to answer this 10 mark question. Okay, so don't straightforward go to the point. Okay, must have the introduction part. Okay, must have the introduction part. Okay, if let's say you have some more time, you can conclude. Okay, the answer. Okay, have the introduction and conclusion and the content at the middle of your answer. So these are all the content. Okay, so these are the introduction and can support with the conclusion. Okay, so if no question, then so we break first 30 minutes. After that we continue. Okay, thank you class. Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
Thank you madam.
Thank you, madam.
You take your
Thank you,
breakfast.
madam.